Hey, yep, I'm back. Yep. This is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, high top NRG Stadium. Today's results are a little bit different from last Sunday's. Although, although, let me get that caveat. It didn't start out like that. I tell you what, Texas, boy, D'Amico Ryans walked in and somebody in the press said, "Is your heart still beating?" He said, "Yeah, I got to slow down a little bit." This was the game for the ages right here, folks. This is the NFL football. I don't care how you look at it. This is the NFL football. I'm going to bring my man Elvin Henderson in from the Gilmore Mirror. He was supposed to have been down here today, but he got sick, and I'm not sure if he was, I'm not sure what he ate. It was a bad one of his favorite restaurants might have got him. Maybe they're trying to get him out of his favorite restaurant. But whatever the case might be, I'm gonna bring him in. Then we're gonna pop up. We got some comments from the let's see, yeah, there we are. Elwin, first thing, how you feeling, man? I know early part of the week you were scheduled to be down here, but you couldn't get here. Number one, how you feeling?
Well, I'm much better. I was doing better uh, Friday, and then Friday night I had a little resurgence, I guess you could say. And but yesterday I got feeling better late yesterday afternoon, and I'm back to 100% today. So I hated to miss the game, but I'll be honest, the way it started out, I was like, thank God I didn't feel like going.
Yeah, scored in case somebody has missed it or been living under a rock, whatever the case might be, or might have had an ICE agent chasing you. The final score from NRG Stadium today: Texans 36, Jacksonville Jaguars 29. Although the pivotal moment was the Texans on a 93-yard drive and was capped off by a 14-yard run by Davis Mills. Now, if you would have told us that Davis Mills was going to cap this game off and be the reason that they won, because there are other 10 people on the field beside Davis Mills and a defense that just went total went BS crazy on Jacksonville today. I think everybody would have told, yeah, I don't know what you're smoking, but if you got something to want to pass it around, you can. It might sell pretty good right now. But that's the nature of the beast. What happened? Elvin, we keep saying this being sound redundant, but this is the NFL. This is the NFL.
Yep.
This is the current. Excuse me. Excuse me, NFL as we know it, and I mean, I know we've been around it a long time. We've seen the ups and downs, but normally a team get up on you by 19 points. They can pretty well mail it in. Used to be able to mail it in for not anymore.
No.
Not with turnovers and everything else considered. So, uh, any anything that stands out in your mind before I get to the coach and get to Sheldon Rankin. Reason I'm going is a backstory to Sheldon Rankin. I think I'll let the interview, the scrum interview, my question to him answer the question for you. And I went back to Sheldon, although there were several players. Believe it or not, a whole lot of folks didn't show for Davis Mills post game, Elvin, and so and that's a tragedy in itself because he once he got himself righted and everything, Davis Mills played one hell of a ball game
He
today.
did.
He played one hell of a ball game today, and just and I'm not a big statistic. I don't get into, but 27 to 45, 292 yards, two touchdowns, and one interception, and that INT was so early. Nobody, coach. I can't tell everybody what your text was to me in the first part of that game, but I was just coming from church, and I don't know if you had gotten to church, but whatever. I think all of us probably needed to go back to church,
Yeah.
but after that text. But the NFL football when you objectively as reporters and reporting on this game, we have to sort of maintain a neutral objective, but you quietly as when you go back and see teams, you want to see teams perform good, bad, and different or otherwise, but that they can frustrate you. And, and
Yep.
and and the Texans started off in a very frustrating manner. Your couple of things that just stood out to you before I go to Coach Ryan.
Well, I think the biggest thing, certainly the Texans aren't out of the woods yet.
No,
But let's face
no.
it, if they went 3-6, playoffs were out of the picture. There is no way in the world the team would have been able to come back, I don't think. But they are back in the hunt again now, and right now, really only one game out of a wild card spot with three other teams that they're in the hunt with, Kansas City, and I forget who the other one is right now. But anyway, this was absolutely, and I did listen to D'Amico's press conference. You know, later in the season, if the team gets it together, gets on a roll, makes the playoffs, I think everybody's going to have to go back to this game and say, this is the reason the Houston Texans made the playoffs. So that stood out to me. And the other thing that stood out to me is what stood out to you and me both all season long. Thank God for this defense being as strong as they are. If it weren't for this defense, there is no way in the world the Texans would have been able to come back today. But they are absolutely playing lights out. And I was really proud for Daniil Hunter after that little bit of a lull he's been on to get 3 sacks today. I thought the defense played the best game they played all season.
Well, let's give Daniil all his sake. He had 3.5 sacks today.
Yeah, true.
Don't cheat him. Don't cheat him out of there. Let's give him all his sake. But anyway, you mentioned your comments about D'Amico Ryan. Let's go ahead and let's get Coach in on this one.
The fact about being proud of these guys, but it's one game, but one game can be pivotal in a season. Do you have to get to the end to finally realize what this game might have meant to this team, and just take it for what it's worth today?
Yeah, I take it. I take this moment right now, and I'm a relish in this moment and love this moment for how our team battled. Right, and yes, I hope it's a springboard for us, moving throughout the season, and we continue to see that it doesn't matter, right, what the scoreboard looks like. It's about how you execute, how you finish, how you play together, and how you have that belief in one another and in yourself, right, to go out and finish games like this.
Aaron, I think that might have been the comment. That might have been a similar comment. That was my question I had asked the Coach Ryan about how significant this game. And like I said, I take it for what it's worth now. You have to get to the end of the season, depending on is this the pivotal game that makes this team turn this whole season around for this team? Because Lawrence, it was Bo Nix last week.
Mm-hmm.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, quarterbacks got out and made a mad dash at the end to sort of break the defense back because they had played yeoman. They had put in yeoman's work, with the Broncos and the Tampa Bay's Baker Mayfield respectfully. However, today, and Travis Lawrence got loose at the end, but
Mm-hmm.
this time the Texans got the ball on the 7-yard line, about 6:02 left, and I sort of sit there and looked at it and I say, can they drive, and really they done pretty much what you wanted to. They kept that ball for a 93-yard drive and carried it all the way to the end. And really, the touchdown, Davis Mills 14-yard scramble, that really was a deciding factor. Although the coup de grace was Sheldon Rankins'
Yeah.
scoop fumble recovery for a touchdown for 33-yard rumble. And so, you saw that. Hey, take my hat off to them, to the guys, man. And I'll have Sheldon. I got Sheldon's comments coming up after that. But it's one of those situations where, let me see. Let me just show this one real quick. Got Houston run. Let me see. Coming up. Yep, it was an amazing comeback. The Houston Bound Ball Review, appreciate it. And by the way, folks, it's 6:00. In fact, about 15 minutes from now, folks talking sports on the Houston Roundball Review. Kim, KP, and Willie G will all be there talking folks talking sports at 6 p.m. on the Houston Roundball channel. So, and by the way, if you had not subscribed to the Houston Roundball channel, please do so. And if you have not, go jump over to that one, subscribe, come back over here to the Ad Max Corner YouTube channel and subscribe as well. But yeah, next team up from you're right. Now, let me tell you something. Titans A train, AI train, 5790. That might not, Elvin. That might be a hardest game. That might be a very hard game for the Texans coming up.
I
Titans
agree.
have been the Titans have been let's see has been a hodgepodge of mess, you know.
Hmm.
And but you know what? This is the type of team because they have nothing to lose,
Nope.
no cares in the world, and they can go into Tennessee next week in Nashville and they can get their heads handed to
Oh yeah.
them real easy. That's been the NFL, folks. You just, sounding, I'm not trying to be over melodramatic, but as well as the Texans, as hard as they played all this season defensively, that team, they could go in next week and the Titans can just realize, just suck up to have enough gumption to come back. I would be surprised if they go put on the old Houston Oilers uniform and
They
come out
might
next
do
week.
it.
But uh, any other things that stood out in your mind, Elwin?
Well, the one thing we talked about already, this game may end up saving the Texans season. But talking about teams that have nothing to lose, let's just face it. This is probably the closest we have ever had to seeing a big bunch of teams bundled up, and I hate to use the word mediocrity, but equality. We have had so many crazy games this year. I mean, after the Buffalo Bills defeating the Kansas City Chiefs last week, who would have thought they would go down to Miami and get blown out literally by the Dolphins? You've had so many crazy games. And look what Drake May is doing up in New England for the Patriots. I mean, you got to start worrying about them if you're an AFC team. Are they going to be a sleeper as far as to make the championship game? And could they even surprise everybody and make it to the Super Bowl? You've got a lot of the teams that are always at the top struggling this year, and a lot of teams that are always at the bottom coming through and turning things around. So I think we have got an awful lot of crazy games this season. And something tells me 2025, and it's been that way in high school, college, NFL. I think it's going to continue the whole season in all three areas of football, from high school on up to the NFL. And as that old song goes, but baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. I think there's a lot more to come.
Aaron, before we go any further, I think we would be remiss on this program with all the time we've had covering the NFL is not to say something about the passing of Paul Tagliabue, who
Oh
was the
yeah.
NFL commissioner for 17 years. Paul passed this morning, and I know there's a good friend of mine. I know definitely know John Wooden, the Godfather. He and they were real close, and
Hmm.
I hadn't had a chance to call him yet, but I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that he's gonna feel remiss because they worked real well with the emphasis of the John Wooden, the organization, the Fritz Pollard Alliance, and all of that. That came
Hmm.
through his emphasis in his initial start under Paul Tagliabue. So just a moment of just reference and reflection on Paul Tagliabue passing this morning. If I remember correctly, I think he's age 84.
Right.
So he passed this morning. So just a tip of the hat and just a reminder of remembrance about Paul Tagliabue this morning. Um, let tell you what, before we get any further, I got to bring Sheldon Rankins in because
You
I
bet.
remember let's see, get down here, Mr. Rankins. Bring Sheldon in
Your
and get this
second
one in.
touchdown is many years. Your first one a couple years ago in the north end zone.
Right.
You get your second one now in the south end zone. Any more end zones you need to cover?
Listen, as many as God will allow me to touch. Like I said, if another opportunity presents itself with the ball in my hands, I will, excuse my French, get my big ass to the end zone as fast as I possibly can, and let the chips fall where they may. But yeah, no, I mean it's it's always fun to make plays. It's even more fun for a big guy to find his way in the end zone, especially to have a little bit of room to run, show off the athleticism a little bit. Like I said, I was dog tired, but just looking at the pylon, like, man, please just get closer, get closer, get closer, and then finally getting in there.
Yeah, that was Sheldon Rankins. Now, Texans didn't need that touchdown from Sheldon Rankins, but I think it sort of was the icing on the cake. Topping on the cake, the cherry on top,
Yep.
whatever cliche you want to call. I remember because and what made it so unique. I remember Sheldon. And my question to him a couple of years ago in this very same stadium, except it was on the north end zone. He scored. I asked him how many touchdowns. He said that's his very first professional touchdown. And now all of a sudden now, like you said, he rumbling, stumbling for 30. He didn't stumble. Yeah, he did stumble. I'll mess with him on that one. But when he scored, who cares? He rumbled in. And so, they asked him during the scrum, do you still have the ball? He said, you don't even know what happened to the ball. He got mauled in the south end. He got mauled in the south end zone. So he's not sure what happened to the ball. And ain't no telling what that ball is right now. But I tell you what, it was. I think it was fitting the way the Texans started off the game to the way they closed it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I told Dylan Harden, I said, you heard this expression. The Texans were like whistling past the graveyard, walking, going by. That's he laughed at me about saying, "Hey man, I'm old. I'm giving you some of them old sayings I used to hear."
Mm-hmm.
I said that's pretty much the way y'all played today. But tip your hat off to him. Texans from a standpoint now targeting. Nico Collins was targeted, and they were determined they were going to throw to Nico Collins. And I think that was out to me, and this is just an observation. They were trying to get to the Nico Collins almost too much today, much to the detriment to the rest of the offense. I
Mm-hmm.
thought he had 15 targets, seven receptions. Schultz scored a touchdown. Jay Niggins got one, but at one while out, three receivers was I think third quarter. Nico had about 8 or 9 targets, and three receivers. He took 3 receivers to come close to him. Had 8. So, and I understood that when you're the backup quarterback, you looking for your stud. I mean, we
Yep.
all understood that. But I almost, but you know what? It worked out, and I think it worked out to the standpoint. And I want to be quite candid with you. That first interception was a good defensive play.
It
I
was.
mean, it was just a heck of a defensive play on the Jacksonville part. We can say, oh, and I know a lot of folks say, oh, heck, here go Davis Mills. Well, you know what? Davis Mills is what's going to more likely, and I'll be quite candid with you from, CJ is still in the concussion protocol,
Mm-hmm.
Elder. And I'm not a doctor. I have not seen his baseline. I'm just going off that lick he took last week.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I would not be surprised to see CJ until next Thursday, Buffalo at the earliest.
Yeah. It
At the
wouldn't surprise
earliest.
me at all to see him miss at least 2 more games.
Yeah. Yeah. And if they can effectively, keep Davis Mills standing straight up,
Mm-hmm.
and if they can get 2 more victories out of him, if they can squeeze the victory out of him, 2 more victories out of Davis Mills and allow CJ to get over that concussion, because Titus Howard didn't play today. I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
what's the basis of his concussion, but we'll see from the standpoint how soon he'll be back. But from CJ Stroud's standpoint, I stated last week minimum of 2, maximum of 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so anyway. Tell you what, we got about 4 minutes left before we get ready to have to turn it over to Chris and the gang on Folks Talking Sports. As I stated earlier, a lot of superlatives. Daniil Hunter, 3.5 sacks. The other half he had to split it with Sheldon Rankins. Coach Sheldon, no, yeah, he did have, he split it with Sheldon Rankin and Will Anderson, who had been on a tear. He got another sack today that really broke the ball loose from Lawrence, and Sheldon Rankins rumbled 33 yards. Final comments on yours, Elwin, then I'm going to get ready to turn it over to the guys on Folks Talking Sports.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. The Texans cannot play down to the level of the competition against the Titans next week. They've got to be prepared. And as our coach up in Gilmer told our football team before our game Friday night, even though we know we're in the playoffs, rough season for my hometown, he said, we need to play against an 0-9 team we were playing like this is a playoff game. Be focused like it's a playoff game. Gilmer did that. That's what the Texans have to do this next weekend in Tennessee. They've got to pretend like it is a playoff game. And secondly, just what you mentioned about CJ, if Davis Mills can get the job done, I say if we need to hold him out 3 weeks more, let's do it. Don't bring him back if he's not 100%, even though he might clear the protocol. If he's not 100%, don't bring him back. But of course, knowing that the season is on the line, if Davis stumbles and falls, and hopefully he won't, hopefully he got a ton of confidence on that fourth quarter comeback today. But if Davis stumbles and falls, I'm a little bit concerned that there might be the temptation to bring him back once he clears protocol, even if he's not 100%. And then you get him hurt again, and there's no chance for anything. So I'm just hoping that Davis can continue to perform like he did for at least the second half today, and that they can make it with him until CJ's back to 100%.
Yeah, I think points well taken. Yeah, like I said, I'd rather see. And you know what? At this time of the year, I know some of the teams are going on bye weeks and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a team doesn't have injuries. There's no well team now in the NFL. So, and like D'Amico said, if you putting you on the field, you next man up. You got to
Mm-hmm.
go perform. No such thing otherwise. Elwin, hey man, appreciate it. Getting ready to turn it over to the Folks
You
Talking
bet.
Sports. Hey man, as always, man, we'll look to see you down the road. Okay.
You bet. Appreciate you having me on, AD, and have a great week, buddy.
All right, you too. Now, take care. All right. Ooh. All right, folks. As Elwin mentioned, got about 60 seconds left. A little bit less than 60 seconds. Getting ready to turn it over to Folks Talking Sports. Chris, KP, Willie G, and the gang getting ready to come aboard on the Houston Roundball Review Network. Again, final score from the NRG Stadium. Houston Texans 36, the Jacksonville Jaguars 29. The Texans capped a 93-yard drive with a 14-yard rumble by Davis Mills to bring the game to the house. And with that, folks, ciao, I'm out, and we'll look to talk to you after we get the Texans get through the Tennessee Titans next week. Folks, I am out. Y'all have a good week. Be safe. Watch yourselves out there.